being a fitness coach for quite a while now, I've learned a lot about what kinds of diets work for people and which ones don't. One of the kinds of diets that I've noticed really doesn't work well for people in terms of sustainability is the diet that's based off of eliminating certain things, or a diet that's really, really exclusive. And just recently I was able to actually pinpoint the science and some of the psychology behind why you will always eat the food that you tell yourself to not eat. I believe that one of the first reasons why you will always end up eating what you tell yourself to not eat is because if you think about sports, for example, like if you've ever played baseball before, if you're the batter, what do they tell you to do? They don't tell you to keep your eye where the ball isn't. They tell you to keep your eye on the ball because that's what you want to hit. Same thing with riding a bike. You know, you don't want to look where you don't want to drive. You want to look where you want your bike to go. Same thing with meditation. If you're someone who meditates, or that's a familiar thing to you, you know that you meditate on the things that you want, right? You don't think about what you don't want. You think about what you do want. So in general, when we focus on something, we are drawn towards it. And I really believe it's the same principle with food too. So if you are so hyper-fixated on all these foods that you're not supposed to be eating, you're still gonna find yourself gravitating towards those foods simply because you're thinking about it. Secondly, there's the psychological concept of assigned value, and this goes back to when humans had to survive out in the wild. One of the things that we learned as a species was that when food was scarce, it became more valuable. So in that sense, if you make things like junk food or treats or food that you really like, if you make those things off limits, automatically our psychology assigns a higher value to those things, and inevitably you will work harder to get your hands on those things. Better yet, if you do get your hands on those foods, the mental effect of getting something that's scarce and getting your hands on those foods releases a large amount of dopamine in our brains, and that is literally like drugs. So not only are we really, really drawn to those foods that we've told ourselves we can't have, but when you do have a small taste of some food that you're not supposed to be eating, it can almost become addictive, and that makes it even harder to stay away from. As a coach that is an expert at sustainable nutritional approaches, I've found that it's a lot more helpful to tell people what to focus on instead of what to stay away from. So just like I was saying how, you know, when you meditate, you think about what you do want. I've learned that telling my clients what to eat is a lot easier than telling them what not to eat. Focus on the good stuff. And that means first you've got to identify what the good stuff is. And there's a long list of things that make foods good foods for you to have. But things like complex carbs, healthy fats, foods that are high in protein, nutrient-dense foods, foods that are high in fiber, stuff like that. Those are all good foods to have make up a large portion of your diet. The other thing is that you really need someone to sit down with you and find a way that is enjoyable, a way that you don't mind getting those foods in your diet. Because if you're just eating things that you absolutely hate, it doesn't matter how good they are for you, you won't keep eating them. After you learn how to have the healthy stuff make up most of your diet, I also think that it's incredibly important so that you don't have that blacklist of foods that ends up becoming this obsession that you inevitably can't avoid. I think it's actually really important to use flexible dieting to work some processed foods into your diet, to actually save a little bit of room to have some treats here and there. And also, one of the things that happens when you do have so many healthy staples in your diet is that things like extreme hunger and extreme cravings are massively reduced. So when you aren't feeling cravings or extreme hunger anymore, it makes being able to enjoy processed foods in moderation a lot easier. If these are helpful tips, or if it's stuff you can relate to, give this video a thumbs up or drop a comment down below. And as always, if you guys have any other questions or you want me to cover other topics, whether it's about food or fitness, then let me know and I'll be back on here again soon.